Okay, we're up to the last question for our part 3 Python beginner series. This one is actually a little bit more difficult, requires a little bit of thinking about it. Write a program that asks for the length of 3 sides of a triangle, and if it is a valid triangle, 2 sides cannot add up, must be more than the 3rd side. Okay, there's a little bit of typo happening there. Calculates the perimeter of the triangle, otherwise it prints out an error message. Let's dig into that a little bit. Okay, I have a triangle here. It's a lovely triangle. It has 3 sides. If you add up 2 of those sides, the 3rd side must be shorter than that side. Okay, so I have A here, I have B here, and I have C here. Imagine that C is incredibly long. Let's draw a second triangle down here. Imagine that C is incredibly long, and then A is here, is really short, and B here is also really short. Well, that's not a valid triangle, okay? If I put that into my program, I want this to return a message. There is no way for those two, you can't actually see that, there is no way for those 2 sides to actually connect. It's not a triangle. So, A plus B minus C needs to be greater than 0. A plus B minus C must be greater than 0. But what if those are the other way around? Well, then also B plus C minus A needs to be greater than 0. And the 3rd one, which is A plus C minus B, also has to be greater than 0. I'm sure there is an easier way to put that into code. I haven't figured it out yet. This is what we're going to be running with, because it at least solves it. If you come up with a better solution, post in the comments, let me know. I'm sure that can be condensed down into something a little bit more simple, but this will do it. Okay. So what do I want to do? I want to get 3 lengths, and they can be floats. They can be decimals. Okay, so A equals a float, input. What is the length of side 1? Question mark, space. Take that, copy it. B and C. And what is the length of side 2? What is the length of side 3? Okay. If, and here's where we need to talk about that. All right. If A plus B is greater than 0. A plus B minus C is greater than 0, and yes, it has to be greater than. If it's equal to 0, we've got a line. That's not a triangle, we've got a line. And now we're going to use another keyword that makes total sense in English, but we haven't talked about it before. And. Do I need to explain what that does? No, that means that the next thing that I type has to be true as well, okay? What's next? A plus C minus B needs to be greater than 0. And B plus C minus A needs to be greater than 0. And colon. Whoops, that's turning into a very long line. I can do this a little bit, and Python will be okay with that. That's just tidying up that statement a little bit. Would it be fine if I just let it wrap along? Of course it would. It just looks a little bit ugly. if that is all true, what I want you to do is I want you to print A plus B plus C. Oh, that's just going to print a random number with no information on it. We don't want that. We want to say the perimeter is comma that there. Great. Else, if A plus B minus C was 0 or was less than 0, or the other two the other way around was less than 0, then we wouldn't have a valid triangle. Okay, so we need to print that is not a valid triangle. Let's give it a shot. What is the length of side 1? Well, it's going to be 10 big. Great. What is the length of side 2? That's going to be 12 big. What is the length of side 3? Well, that's going to be 13 big. Sure. The perimeter is 35.0. Sounds about right. Cool. What if I do a straight 3, 4, 5 triangle? Famously right-angled triangle. Great. I end up with a perimeter of 12. All working well. What is the length of side 1? Well, I'm going to make this one really big. I'm going to make it 100. What is the length of side 2? It's going to be 3, and this is going to be 4. This should fail. That is not a valid triangle. Success. We are now checking if it's a valid triangle, only giving the perimeter if it is, and if it's not a valid triangle, we're putting up an error message. Wonderful. Is that our first bit of error checking? I think it might be. Well done, well done. If you've got this far, you should start to feel comfortable with if, else, else if now. If you haven't got the hang of that, if you're still a bit confused about that, go to the internet, find some other examples, find some other puzzles to do until you're feeling really, really confident with how that works. Don't forget your colons, don't forget your tabbing. I'm sure some of you would have gotten that at some point. I have all the time. Apart from that, well done. I will see you in part 4.